Kecia with a little chat chew for you. So check this out, people. Y'all already know. First, let's do my disclaimer, okay? So everybody's opinion counts, but the opinions of myself and those of my guests are those of ours. We're not asking you to agree, but we're asking you to be respectful and be respectful to agree to disagree if we get to that point. Capiche? Capiche. So I hope you guys have been doing well as we are coming to an end of the month of May. Swinging in the summer, it's warming up, pulling out the shorts and the sundresses. Hey. So listen, here's my shirt for mental health, okay? My anxiety has anxiety, so don't mess with either one of us, okay? All right. I hope everybody is taking care of their mental health on this May 2022 Mental Health Awareness Month. Remember, take some time just for yourself. Just sit back, find you a calm place, a cool place, a quiet place, and just take a moment for yourself, okay? Don't get overwhelmed. Whatever it is, it's going to be all right, all right? You don't have to fix it. You don't even have to worry about it at that moment. Just disconnect so you can find your peace and center yourself. Okay, so let's get started. Today we are continuing with our ode to the educator, because educators are very important, as we talked about last week. They are the first line of defense, because again, our children spend more time with the educators than they do with us a lot of times. So it is important that as a community we know what we need to be doing to support our educators in order to support our children properly, because again, the children are our future. We just had a great conversation about how important it is and that the children are our future. So we need to make sure that we're planting good, healthy seeds and good fertile ground so these kids can grow up and they can make an effective change, and as well as being good citizens, educated, and can go out in the world and do great things. So tonight we have another educator from the great state of North Carolina. He is a 8th grade teacher.
8th grade ELA.
8th grade ELA at Hope County Middle School in Rayford, North Carolina. So let's give a hand to Mr. Corvance Hudson, the #1 teacher in Rayford.
I'm here. That's me. That is me. That's me.
Well, Corvette, so as I stated earlier, so we're just gonna get into it. Feel free to express your opinion however you see fit, because this is not a scripted show. We just talk from our heart. We just talk about it. You know what I mean? All right. So tell us, why you became an educator. Why was it important to you to become an educator?
Ooh, that's loaded. Okay, so why I became an educator? Number one, I didn't want to teach first. I didn't plan on teaching. I got a job at the prison. I worked 2 years at a maximum security unit. I was in college at the time. I worked 2 years at a maximum security. It was 4-tier, so that was pretty tough. And so I was in college at the time. I was getting an English non-teaching. And I remember going to work every day and I'm like, listen, this ain't for me. So I was getting an English degree, and I would almost question all of my inmates. So I went to prison to get my fathers. I had 60 of them a day. And so I asked them, if you could listen to one person in the world, who would it be? If in the position that you're in right now, who do you wish you had have listened to? And out of 60, at least 45 of them said my teacher.
Really?
At least 45 of them. Not moms, not dads, not sisters, not uncles. They said teachers. I wish I had listened to Miss Jackson. Or I wish I had listened to my coach.
Wow.
Or I wish I had listened to my. So I knew at that moment I was in the right spot. And so that's when I really went to the books, and I spent those last 2 years questioning them why. And they said, they just had my best interest at heart. I really trusted them. And so After
That's
asking why y'all didn't,
profound. You do know that, right?
right?
That is profound.
Yeah.
That is profound. And I hope the audience, I hope you guys realize how profound that story is.
Yeah, they didn't say moms, they didn't say dads, and I went back
They
and
said
asked
they're
my
teachers.
teacher. They said my teacher, and I knew at that moment, Mr. Hudson, you have to go to the classroom. You have to finish your English degree. And so when I finished school, I beelined to the classroom. I taught ninth and 10th grade first. I was at high school first, and I really enjoyed it. And then I
Okay,
moved.
well, let's break right there. Tell us about your high school experience. Tell us about, first give us a synopsis of how your high school experience was. Then tell us what type of impact those children had on you, and what type of impact you had on them.
Okay. From a teacher's perspective, we always think we need our kids.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. From a teacher's perspective, we always think the kids need us.
Right.
That
Okay.
wasn't it for me. I realized teaching ninth and 10th graders, I needed my students as much as they needed me.
Okay.
They taught me how to teach them. They taught me how to empathize, how to sympathize. They taught me how to be. I'm from lack of words, I'm gonna say how to be human. My
Mm-hmm.
kids taught me that just because you are above me does not mean that we don't suffer from the same things.
Right.
And so, my ninth and 10th grade, I taught it. I was in Arkansas, so I'm from Arkansas originally. I taught at a low economic, socioeconomic school, very low. All of my kids had free lunch, and that's how low it was.
Yeah, gotcha.
And so, after my impact on them was a student told me about 3 weeks into school, I'm teaching hard. I'm getting, y'all got to get this reading. We got to get this. And the student told me after class, he pulled me to the side and said, Mr. Hudson, I don't want to learn this. And I said, you don't? Is it me? He said, education has done nothing for the vernacular of my entire family. Why do I need this?
Wow.
My mom worked in a factory. My grandma worked in a factory.
Oh,
my
wow.
grandfather worked in a factory. I'm going to get a factory job, and that's what I'm going to do for my life. I just need to learn how to read, to work a machine. And that's when I transposed my teacher. And that's when I really went to.
Wow. That just touched my soul, because it's a sad day that a lot of children believe that they cannot be anything but a product of their environment. That there's no, you mean to tell me, because this is what I hear, there is nobody in that child's life circle that is planting a seed that there's better.
Yep.
You can have better. You can do better. I don't want you to do and be a part of what you see. I want you to do better. Okay,
And,
I just had a moment. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and when he said that to me, I knew at that moment I really had to teach him what linguistics meant. That this language that I teach and how this affects you. All of my ball players, I did an experiment. I said, okay, y'all just want to learn how to read, right? Y'all just want to learn how to read and write. Okay, so I'll teach that. I drafted a contract, took it to class, and I said, all of you guys will make $100,000 a year. Now, I said 100. 100 is not a word.
No, it's not. No. I mean,
It's
it depends on who you're talking to. But go ahead. I got it, Mr. Hudson. I got it.
So I drafted a contract and I gave it to him. And the first week they get contracts, they work the field that week, they come back and get a check. So I printed out my checks, I'm writing my checks. And I said, well, sad day that all of y'all think you're going to get. So we already picked our houses. They were going to buy their houses. So it was an experiment. So they picked our houses and bought cars. And so they had their little experiment center. They had everything. They had did all the research. And when I gave them a check that says 0, they said, why are you giving us checks that say 0? I said, because you said you want to make $100,000.
And that's
100 is not a number.
That's
and
right.
This is why reading is very critical and it's very important.
Right.
Not that you learn it for you, but you learn to feed your family. Not that you learn it for you, you learn to feed the people who come behind you. Right. Not that you learn it just for you, because you're planting a seed that's going to longevity. You want longevity. And so that's what my kids, that was an eye opener for some of them. My ball players was like, dang, I never seen it like that.
Yeah,
I said, if
yeah.
you
I
don't know
mean,
how to,
I would have never thought that. I mean, that's
absolutely,
a theory parents can use on their kids.
absolutely.
You know?
And then
Shoot.
and then some kids
Yes.
contract, and some kids that got the 100 right, I took 45% of their salary. I said, well, here's
Mm-hmm.
your check. And they were like, you said $100,000. I said, in your contract, it stated that you pay me 40%. I don't know what that means. I said, you didn't ask, and you
Right,
just
right.
signed it. So
They
that's my
just heard the
percentage.
dollars,
Absolutely.
and that was it.
And so I think that after that, that's how I grasp those kids. I use the ideology and the philosophy that the societal norms they grew up in. I use them to manipulate their thinking into the next level. And those kids, all those kids I taught, graduated just a couple of weeks ago, and they called me asking where was I coming, and
Oh,
I just couldn't get there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I plan on seeing them later on in life. I'll get to them one by one. I promised them I would. But those kids graduated, and they all sent me like thank you letters on Facebook, and they was like,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for everything you taught us, everything you showed us. I'm a legacy leaver. I'm a legacy builder. That's why I teach, and the impact they had on me, they
Right.
taught me how not just to be a teacher, but how to be an uncle, how to be a cousin, how to be a daddy, how to be a brother, how to be a sister, how to be an auntie. Those kids
Yeah,
taught me
yeah, yeah. That's so
how
good.
how to lean, and not just some, because some days I just needed them. So some days I needed them.
Right,
I
right,
like, oh, I'm the smartest in this room. Yes, Mr. Hudson, you are the smartest in this room. But these kids give you life. These are your
right,
legacy
right.
holders.
They're
They
the
hold
fuel that
absolutely,
gets you going.
absolutely.
And
And so,
it's so, I mean, it's got to be something because Aaron said the same thing. Aaron said that his children taught him how to teach them, and that they taught him that just be human. Like we don't need, we just need you to be
yes,
regular, basically.
yes,
And to go back to, I'm still stuck on that. Girl, you see, you got me scratching my head, Lord. I am still stuck on that experiment because you know what else that, because we don't teach our children. This is another thing. The difference between wealth and riches. It's a
yes,
difference.
a
It
big
is a
difference.
difference between wealth and riches. We should not be focusing on dollars and cents. That is not wealth. Wealth is a state of mind.
Absolutely. Miss Kecia, let's talk about education, because education is the way to freedom.
Right?
W.E.B. Du Bois said education
Absolutely.
is the way to freedom. And so freedom is not just money.
Right?
And we associate, because we've been
It's
taught to.
not.
We've been taught and acclimated to believe that if I have money, I'm free.
Yeah.
If I can just get some J's, a Gucci, and a Dior bag, then somebody will look at me as if I'm free. Or if I could just get a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, um, by any means necessary, that's my way to
Right.
wealth, that's my
Right.
way to success. And that's not it. Education is the way to freedom. The more
Right.
I know, and what that means is a educated mind cannot be manipulated. And so the more I know, the less you can manipulate me with. And that's on all spectrums. If I learn the language, I master the law.
That's
If you
good.
understand the language, you master the law, any law.
Right. Right.
And that's, for every action as an opposite and equal. And
Right.
when you
Right. Right.
understand that in education, when you understand that in finances, when you understand that in legislation, when you learn that in declaration, when you learn that in history, math, science, English, and social studies, that whatever I put out, I get back. So
Mm-hmm.
if I really work these 12 years, I really, really work, I can get to the next level. And so when I came back down to eighth grade, just like Mr. Bowen, I ain't teaching no eighth grade. I don't want to. When I went back down to eighth grade, I soon discovered those kids are just like high school kids.
You
There
think
is
so?
no
Because that was
there
going to be my next question. What was like the difference between, because I know Aaron said he loves the fact that he can still mold them as middle schoolers. And I can understand that because, he was like, they haven't really learned too many bad habits. So you still have that opportunity to mold them. Versus when you get in high school, they smelling themselves and they figure they got it all figured out. So, you know what I'm saying? So how do you see that?
Well, the solution is I can't guarantee 100% solution. What I can say on a 50-50 scale, that every student likes structure.
Mm-hmm.
If I supply you with structure, I can mold anything. See, Martin Luther King talked about what is your blueprint, and
Right.
your blueprint first is self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I
That's good.
instill something inside of you that promotes accountability, productivity, no matter if you're 96, if I instill something in you that acquires, that I first, in order to make a mold, you got to set it.
Right.
And
Right.
so when I get a chance to mold your intellect,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I love teaching English. There's not a subject I can't discuss. I can take any subject and embed it into the English language
You
arts,
can.
and I
Yeah.
can teach
Okay.
it, because it's linguistics,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
history, and English is the law, English is history.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of those kids now, the, it's subject to the community you live in. Nathan, but Miss, okay, let me back up. Okay, so let me
Yeah,
go
because
left.
I'm getting ready to jump into this whole community thing.
Let me go left for a second.
Okay.
Um, we teach our kids. See, this is the reason why my kids, and I'm talking about my kids. The reason why my kids believe in high school that they are who they are is because they're taught that from home. In 4 years, you're getting out. So when you teach a child that, when you embed that into a child's head, when he get in ninth grade, he believes I only have 3 years left, and I got to get everybody I got to get. I got to get you right. I got to get you right. I got to get you right. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, if you don't do it the way I like it, I got to. So when they spend those last 3 years of high school really trying to assert themselves, when
Right.
if we
Right.
tell them, listen,
Okay.
you don't have to. You got 5 years, baby. You got 6 years. You're not leaving mama's house till you get ready. You ain't
Right.
leaving
Right.
daddy's
Right.
house till you get ready to leave. Those kids will stop trying to assert themselves to
Wow.
in the ninth grade as a see. I was also a deputy sheriff at a jail.
You just
I
a
did
jack of all
I
trades, huh?
did that for one year. I
Oh my
worked for a
God,
senator.
bless America.
Listen, I worked for Senator Stephanie Flowers. Y'all look her up. Look, I worked for the Senator Stephanie Flowers in Little Rock, Arkansas. I in college I worked for the chancellor of academic the chancellor of finance administration. So I had people in my corner.
Right.
Um,
Right. And
and
that's
so
good. That's good.
yeah,
Your future, you got to build relationships. That's
absolutely.
good. Relationships are very important, no matter what your
Yes.
profession is. Relationships are important.
Relationships are the foundation. And
Yes.
so when we tell our kids stuff like, "Oh, you leaving at 18," they spend those last 3 years trying to assert that because you told them that from home.
Mm,
And so because you told me that, I have to perform, or I'm gonna sink or swim. And I'm gonna perform and it given the floor, I'm gonna perform. If
right.
you
Right.
give a kid the floor, they gonna perform because
Yeah.
you
That's
we told
anybody.
them. Eminem said you only got one shot, do not miss your chance to blow, and they listening to that. And so
Mhm.
this one shot, I'm gonna give Mr. Hudson. I'm gonna give my all I got. I'm gonna go ahead and show out today because I only got 3 more years, and now because in 3 years I'll be nobody because I haven't planned for it. Nobody's giving me a blueprint. I don't have anybody to
Yeah.
call. I don't have any relationships built. My coach is looking for the next star. He ain't really studied me because my behavior is so bad. And so when you tell kids that,
Hmm.
we set them up for
Wow,
failure.
I never thought about it like that.
We
Wow.
set them up.
Like
We
that
set
is
them.
profound. And it's not, a lot of times we look at they act out because they can't catch on, or maybe they don't understand the curriculum, but it could be something completely,
Absolutely.
I mean, just words, seeds that we are planting.
Words have power,
Yes.
presence, and prophetic implication. That means
Mm-hmm.
if words have power, I can tell you what I want you to do, and it's gonna come to pass. They
Right.
have prophetic implication because you prophesying over somebody else's life
Mm-hmm.
without even with a negative or positive
Right,
implication.
right.
And you don't know who you're raising. And I say this all the time. Sometimes we have to be careful because sometimes the child we talking to may be bigger than the womb it came from. So what you
Mm-hmm.
talking to,
Ah,
that
that's good. That's
that that
you
that's
just
it.
dropping all these nuggets, Mr.
Absolutely. I have
Hudson.
to be careful because the child that I'm talking to may be the next archbishop, but because I'm talking to him as if he's a street sweeper, he's going to perform on that level. And so
Mm-hmm.
I,
That's
I I
good. That's
I
good.
have to be as a teacher, and teachers sometimes we have to relax. I did my last when I was in grad school in Arkansas before I came to grad school here. My thesis was on the decline of parental involvement, and you're gonna get to that
Oh,
one too.
let's go there. Let's go there. All right.
So the decline of parental involvement from K through 6 is up,
Mm-hmm.
and from 7 through 12 it kind of goes down. Well, it has nothing to do with. It has little to do with SES, which is social economic status. It has a little bit to do with the community. It has a little
Yeah.
bit to do, but everything to do with
Home life.
how teachers talk to those parents on the telephone, because
Okay. Help me
parents.
to understand that.
Okay, so parents base, when you were in school, you're going to base your adverse experience, like Dr. Nadine Burke Harris talks about the adverse effects of childhood trauma. The parents are basing the way my high school or my middle school experience was. I'm not going to the school because the teacher treated me like trash. So I'm not going back in that same field of study so you can keep doing it to me over and again, because the
Mhm.
adverse effects of child trauma. So I have post-traumatic stress disorder from dealing with my teachers. I'm not going to deal with my son's teacher. I'll let grandma go handle it. I'll
Got
let
you.
uncle and them go handle it. And
Mm-hmm.
so as teachers, we really have to be careful when we call. We got to say one thing positive and finish the rest. We got to say one thing positive and finish the rest. Hey, well, this is what they did this week. They did really good this week, but last week he cut up bad. We got to say
Mm-hmm.
one thing positive, because when you say that one thing positive, that parent goes down. Their radar go whoop. Okay, so I'm doing the parent. The parent automatically assumes I'm doing something right. He did good last week. I'm doing
Right,
something
right,
right.
right.
But when you get on the phone and say, "Hey, Miss Kecia, Jordan ain't did nothing in my classroom. I've asked her 6 times to put her cell phone away," automatically, their parent says, "I'm not a good parent."
Mm-hmm.
Expe- Based off of their childhood trauma, has nothing to do with you, has nothing to do with them. It's their adverse effects of their childhood trauma. The trauma, we're bringing up that trauma again. So as teachers, we really have to back off and say, listen, how are you this week? Let's talk about what we can do to improve. Because let me say this: that child belongs to the community.
Right,
That's our child. So
right.
I tell teachers all the time. When I tell parents all the time, when you call a teacher about a student, you tell the teacher, "Well, I'm calling you. I'm Miss Johnson. I'm calling you about our son Paul. See, Paul spend more time with you than he spend with me.
That's
So
right.
you
That's
tell me how to
right.
fix. So how can we fix Paul together? Because
Right,
I'm gonna help you like you gonna help me, and we really have to build that communal relationship,
right,
that community relationship. And when teachers start taking responsibility for their children and stop imposing infractions on parents who are just working, who are trying to go to school, who are trying to climb out of the gutter, because they trying to climb out of the gutter, but we won't allow them to climb out of the gutter because they may have chosen the wrong baby father,
right,
or the child may not be understanding.
right, right.
It may be a small misunderstanding, and so that parent is really trying to make it through life, and we cannot impose that childhood trauma. And so
Right.
the
And
when
that's so crazy because, just bringing it home with me. Because, like, my daughter, I can be like, oh, Dominique, just relax. No, that's my child. They ain't gonna be doing my child that way. And then, when you said that, and I used to do the same thing with them.
yeah,
I used to do
yeah,
the, who said what? I'm on my way. She, they knew. Let me just call my mama.
yep,
She did what? She said what to you? Oh, ain't nobody
yep,
talking to my child like that.
yep,
Knowing that my child got a smart ass mouth. She talk all the time, but you say something sideways to my baby.
huh,
You not up. My child is not here for you to chastise her. But
absolutely,
now having you said that, and then, like, at the time, because I was I was really at the epitome of my the highest point of my career in the military when Dominique and Dante were, like, in high school, so I wasn't as present as I should have been. I left it up to them to be responsible, which was awful. Do not do that. You hear me? That is bad parenting. Do not do that. Okay, it is not good. Okay, because, again, we can't put the responsibility solely on the educators. Like, it is not okay. Even, I know you got to work. I know you got to provide for the family, but it is not okay. You have to figure it out. Do not do that. That is not okay, because now hindsight is 2020. I wish I would have made time to sit down with my children. Like, it was important for me to sit down with Dominique and Dante on the weekends and have family time. Like, we would eat family dinner. But if I would have put that same effort into when I get home, what what went on in school today, and we had those conversations, or are you having did you do your homework? Let me see. Look, if I would have, and that's just me being accountable for
And I
myself.
love that.
I
I love
feel
that.
like that is where I failed my kids at, and I mean, they're grown now, and they're doing their thing or whatever, but I know that is a place that I failed my kids at, and I see, goes back to that trauma. I see that my daughter is, she really challenges my granddaughter. And then when my granddaughter, because my daughter teaches at the school where my granddaughter goes to.
Right.
So when they try to get home and do schoolwork, Journey's like, well, you off. Why I can't be off? Like, why we gotta, didn't we do this at
Right.
school? So she has more of a challenge with Journey because, Journey knows she's in the other room teaching class, so she's like, so like I can go there and we'll do the flashcards. And my granddaughter, she'll call off the words, she'll call off the shape, she'll call off the colors. And my daughter be like, why you can't do that when me and you do it, And I told her, I said, it's a different dynamic because she knows if she comes out that classroom with her class and pass by that classroom, your classroom, her mom's right there. So when y'all get off of work, go home, in her mind, like, school is over, me and mama at home. Why are you who
Yep.
wants, I mean, granted, she's getting ready to go to pre-K, but and I told my daughter, I said, you have to be patient with her into teaching her that it still continues. She's
Yep.
at that age where you're not going to sit with her for an hour drilling her on,
Yep.
flashcards or whatever. She's not going to pay attention that long.
No.
And so she's getting it now that she can't teach her daughter like she teach her children. And so, but I see that trauma because I used to be cuckoo about my kids too, but at the same time, when they come home, I wasn't there giving them parental guidance. So
Mhm.
it was like, what was I really showing them? That I'm gonna act crazy if somebody says something to you, but
Yep.
you ain't did your homework, but don't worry about it. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
listen, that is not good parenting, y'all. That is not good parenting. Listen to me. Listen to me. Okay. Learn from my mistakes. That is not good parenting. I mean, I understand because I was a single parent too. So I get it. I get it. It's not enough hours in a day, but you have to find that time. They have to understand how important education is. They have to understand that.
Education, not only not education not only produces freedom, but education is an avenue we take to expel how we really feel, um, emotionally and intellectually. We get to expel how we feel using our emotions, but we exercise an intellect that goes along with our emotions. So we don't come off overbearing. So we don't come off in a way that, like we do all the time, like history has painted us. We always come off belligerent. We always come off ignorant
Right.
because we never learn how to read. And so
Right.
education is the avenue. I'm not saying everybody has to be a philosopher.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
saying everybody has to be a doctor. We need street sweepers. Martin Luther King said, if you're gonna sweep the streets, you need to
Be
sweep
the
them like
best.
Aristotle wrote
You
books.
hear me?
You need to sweep them like Beethoven played the piano. If you whatever you do, be the best at what you
That's
do.
right.
And so my kids say all the time, you need to be a motivational speaker. I say tell my kids all the time, listen, I am your motivation. I am your speaker. I speak for you. I speak to you in ages. I don't speak to your now. I speak to your forever.
Right.
I'm,
Right.
I'm not
That's good.
speaking to you just today. I have a quote in my classroom I wrote. I said, uh, tomorrow doesn't like you, neither does today. But here I am right now. What are you gonna do with me right now?
That's good. That's
Yes.
good.
Tomorrow
Accept
may
your
not.
now, who you
Yeah,
are right now.
absolutely. And so Just what was the topic we were on? I forgot that fast.
Oh, we done went way off. Don't worry about it. Listen, let's talk about this. How about talk to me about social influences? How do you deal with that with your children?
Social influences. Well, I'm the biggest social influence in my classroom, I like to believe. However, I do understand that socially things exist. I remember, prime example. Here we go, right here. Socially, I was teaching pronouns. They, them, we, us. Now in the LGBT movement, you can't say they and them and make it plural.
Right.
It has to be singular. I told my kids, I said, let me tell y'all something. I teach a doctrine. I teach a doctrinated subject that has full legality to steer the direction of populations and masses of people. I don't teach to your social scientific theories, because right now what y'all doing is practicing. And so all the social factors.
Ding, 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 ding. Practicing.
Period.
Period. As my grandbaby would say, period. Period.
And so how do I deal with those? Of course, there's drugs and alcohol in our neighborhoods, in our communities. I see it every day. I see it every day on the faces of my kids. I see it every day. How do I deal with it? I attack it. Because I worked at the prison, because I was deputy sheriff at the jail. Thank you for your service. I did 9 years in the Arkansas Guard. I like to attack things right in the face. And so if I see a kid I know struggling with something, I usually pull that kid. Let's get. I want to have a conversation. Now, whether you open up to me about it or not is up to you. But I'm gonna say what I gotta say, because that's my duty, my obligation. And teachers, we don't see this too socially. See, teachers can ruin a lot of this social stuff if we told kids the truth. And I say this all the time. It's important that a teacher does not become a parent, but you stay a teacher, because I have totality. I have influence when I stay a teacher. See, parents learn how to manipulate parents. Daughters learn how to manipulate fathers early. Sons know how to manipulate moms early. That's why it's important. I don't become your mom. I don't become your dad. I stay a teacher.
Right.
When
Keep
I stay in
that
the
balance.
teacher, absolutely. When I stay in the teacher lane, I can say stuff your mom may not say and make it make sense to you. Or I can say the same thing your mom said in a different way, and it's gonna make double sense to you, because my mama said that. Yes, of course she said it. And now I'm telling you again. And so back to the prison. My inmates told me my teachers, the reason why they said their teachers was because intellectually they heard their mom say it, they heard dad say it.
But they don't be listening to us.
Absolutely. And it's not they're not listening. It's not in the context.
They think that we are telling them because we don't want them to enjoy whatever it is.
Absolutely.
We trying to take the fun suckers.
Yeah, you're right, Mom. I don't have kids, but you're absolutely right. And so when Mom says something, I ain't listening to that. Hey. Hey, Linda. That's my church member from Arkansas. How are you?
Hey, Miss Linda from Arkansas.
So listen, so when I had side note, I had a lot of influential people in church. I don't think the
community goes back to the community. It takes a village. We have to get involved. I said this last week, and I probably said it 20 times since I've had this podcast. We pull together when something goes wrong. Why we can't pull together all times, maintain a balance, and build our community up?
Well, I think we have to identify what community is. And I think we have to define what a community is, because COM means to grow with, cone, and com means to grow with. If I compact something, that means I'm sticking it all together. I'm building it up. Construction workers work in the construction zone because they're building with something. And I think a lot of times we have nothing to build with. So we say community and we say village, and then we start saying these things, and then there's no real. It's all on a technicality.
It's just it's a facade.
You got it. Go ahead. That is.
Yeah.
And so when I identify community, and Miss Kecia, this is what we did in education. We took the community out of education when we started letting these schools crossbreed. See, you wonder how you did something at school and they ain't had no cell phones back in the day, no telephones. They only had a house phone. Before you got home, everybody in the church knew.
Everybody knew.
On the street, knew what you did.
And your mama was at work.
Your uncle knew. Everybody knew.
Everybody knew.
Absolutely. That's because the janitor at the school went to your church or was a part of the sisterhood ministry
Ooh,
that
I
was
sure
doing.
remember them days. Yeah, ooh.
Absolutely. And so we've lost that. When all these schools start commingling, you better not say nothing to my kids. You better not say nothing to my kid. And
Yep.
that produces that produce that produce mass distractions. That's when
Yep.
the drugs come in. The weapons of mass distraction are alcohol, drugs, not having a father in the home, and a lot of us suffer from that. We were never debriefed from slavery. We really don't know what slavery did to us. There's a lot of things that we don't know that did to us. But what I do know is this: I do know we can't show up and talk. We can show up and say something. We can show
Right.
up in our communities and
Right.
spend 15 minutes with these kids outside of schools, keep them out of the.
Right.
We can put together. We can all get together. We spend this money on the weekends at the club. We can at least put a basketball court up in the neighborhood so we
Right.
can have a place to
That's
go to meet
absolutely
these
right.
kids
You are
on the
absolutely right.
weekend. We can drop a swimming pool in somebody's backyard in the neighborhood. Maybe Sister Ancy, who really love the kids, who we know ain't nothing gonna go foul in her house. Hey, Sister
Right.
Ancy, would you watch the kids? We'll drop a swimming pool in your backyard for you to watch our kids on, Monday through Friday. Bring the kid, invite the kids over, so they have somewhere to go.
Right.
We take
Right.
things
A
down.
safe zone.
Absolutely.
A safe zone.
We can put up a library somewhere in somebody's
Right.
house where the kids go and check out books. So
Right.
Miss Sister Ann said, have you saw my son today? Yeah, Barbara, he came up here and checked out 3 books for me today. I want my books back next week now. I just stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
she
A safe
she's in
zone.
her.
Because I'm telling you what, I remember when we lived in Rayford, my neighbor, at one time I thought he liked his name was Kyle. And they were all in high school together. I thought he liked Dominique. No, his father worked all the time and his mother worked all the time. Then I worked all the time. So him and Dominique and Dante used to hang out. I would literally come in my house and Kyle would be sitting in the family room watching TV. And I'd be like, where Dominique and Dante at? And he'd be like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay.
Right.
I mean, because he could have been out doing so many other things.
Anything, yes.
You know what I mean? So you want to create that safe zone. And like I said last week, I know in my hometown in South Carolina, like our high school is really our safe zone. And a lot of my classmates still live in our hometown and their children go to all the schools that we went to. And even if your kid doesn't play any sports, we still support. The community
Absolutely.
still support. That's what it's all about. When we have homecoming, like the whole town is shut down. We have parades and barbecues and all. It's just us getting together, camaraderie, showing support. My little Johnny done moved on, put on a uniform, gone. I don't have no little Johnny, but I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna support,
Yep.
my classmates' child out there. I'm rooting for all of them because that makes a difference. Even if, what about that child on that field that his parents is out there working
Absolutely.
because they fell in that same spot that I did, but I'm rooting for number 3, because I know his mama and I know him and I know his mama is at work. So I'm out here rooting for him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's things that we can do to bring the community back, to
Together.
recreate the village, but we got to be willing to do it. You just can't learn from my experience. You just can't send these babies to school and then
you got a
say,
little money now.
yeah,
you got a little money now. You can just sit in the school and we got a nice
no, you
house.
just can't do that. You just can't do that. And it's where they've been in school all day, right? Point. Now you need to pick up where the teacher dropped off.
Absolutely.
Not just feed them and go to bed. Like, if I could do it over, I really would. But the biggest thing that I want to get out to school age kids, parents, is you have to find time. Because when they see that it's important to you, it becomes important to them.
Yep.
You gotta plant the seeds. You gotta fertilize the soil if you want to produce something good. Like, you have to. You gotta be a part. And it's not always, little Johnny want the new Jordans that's coming out, but little Johnny grades suck.
Absolutely.
No, just because they turn 16 years old, they don't need no car. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't force a child to go to school when you have to be honest with yourself. You wasn't pushing that child like you should have. And so now education is not as easy to them. So
Yep.
now let's not push them to a 4-year degree to go and mess up somebody's money. Let's push them to go get a trade.
Yes.
But whatever they do, we're going to push them to be the best that they can be.
Absolutely.
But it starts with us. It definitely starts with us. It definitely starts with us.
And Miss Kecia, we also say it takes a village.
It does.
And that comes from an African proverb that we never really broke down. And so a lot of times we misconceive it, because it takes a village was actually an African proverb that said once a man has become of age and has shown himself worthy, that he's capable of entering into manhood, we then as a community send him on a mission to do something. That mission could be school, that mission could be the military, that mission could be something of importance that brought back equity to our community as a people. So once he brings that equity back to our community, then we then in turn give him free will to spend time with a nice conservative young lady in the neighborhood or in our community. They build a family together. Then he goes off on mission again. And once he comes back and proves himself worthy, then if something were to happen to him on the way away, then the village raises his child. And so I tell people that all the time, like, that village is the foundation. It's the mere foundation. And when you do not establish that foundation, that village, we look for everybody to be that village. We look for welfare to be that village. We look for Social Security to be that village. We look for all these other extra. No. We have to do the village. You got to.
That it is our job.
Absolutely, you got to.
We have to plant the seed. We have to put good fertilizer. It's no, many years ago, I heard a story told about planting the seed of faith. Like, it's not going to happen right away. Nothing happens right away. And it's just like when you plant a seed, because you want it to produce whatever it is, if potatoes, collards, whatever. It starts with a seed, and you have to plant it deep in the ground. It's not going to produce a good bounty if you don't plant it deep in the ground. But when you're fertilizing it and you watering it and you making sure it gets the right amount of sunlight, guess what? It's going to spout up. But then it's not going to be strong when it spout up. It's not going to be as strong as it's supposed to be, or how it's going to be when it's full grown.
You got to brace it.
The wind is the weather, it's going to be torn and blown.
Yes.
But guess what you still got to do? You still got to make sure it got the right amount of fertilizer.
That's good.
You still got to water it. You still got to make sure it gets it all. And guess what? Until it's fully grown and mature, then it can take care of itself.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the village. We got to do the same doggone thing. The same thing.
And we cannot plant it on stony ground.
No, we cannot, because it is not going to grow a bounty.
No, so a man soweth,
so shall he reap.
So if you know you ain't put, and that's education. And I say that, I was like, go ahead, because you're gonna say something. This is gonna be good. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. Come on.
And so so a man soweth, so he reap. And so we in the classroom, I'm always sowing. And I tell my kids all the time, listen, if you listen to me, I can take you places. If you listen to me, I can take you to the next level. If you just listen to me. The problem is, the one thing about prayer is not how well you speak. It's how well you listen after you say what you got to say. And so it's like a teacher. The teacher is silent during the test.
That's right.
I don't say nothing during the test because I expel everything I have in the preparation of this seed. We got EOGs coming next week, and I tell my kids all the time, listen, I got them going through these. They're like, why we got to do these worksheets? Why we got to keep answering these questions? Because I'm prepping the seed.
That's right.
If you can answer the questions I'm giving you, and I see you can answer them during the test, I have full faith I can be quiet.
That's right.
I don't have to uncover or chastise you, or I don't have to remind you what it is because you've been through enough practice. And just like that seed, and with these social influences,
Yeah,
we
that's
have,
what I was getting ready to go to next.
yeah,
With the social influences, how do you combat that? Like, social media and rap music and, you know, Instagram bodies and
well,
BBLs and all this other.
8 hours a day, Miss Kecia, I am the influence. That's me. So you get to watch me for 8 hours, and so you get to see what it looks like.
Right. The
And
reality.
I thank God for Mr. Bowen. Let me tell you, I thank God for Bowen because kids get to see his social media side and they get to see a real life side. And when Mr. Bowen says, "Hey, I'm Mr. Hudson, I want you to do this," I'm like, "Okay, Mr. Bowen, I got Mr. Bowen, my chair. He's the chair of 8th grade, so I work right up under Mr. Bowen, and so I get an opportunity to see somebody who has really, who is really growing, someone who's really Bowen is Bowen is boundless. Like he is the exemplary black man.
Yes.
He is
He's
exemplary.
yes.
Like he does everything with all just spontaneity, and he does everything. He is not. He's just so moving, and so kids. Listen, kids get to see that in the classroom.
Right, right,
And so I'm so happy that, and so when it comes to the social influences, I am your social influence.
right,
I don't
right,
come
right.
drunk, I don't come high, I don't
Right. You
smoke,
don't
I don't
need
drink.
all that. I'm showing
Abs-
you don't need all that. The
Absolutely.
reality is good enough.
And I show them that I'm human, and I'm not afraid to apologize when I'm wrong. And I
Right.
show them what it's like to be wrong sometimes. One student came in my classroom this morning. I really yelled at her. Don't come in here. Stop doing that. And it hurt her feelings. But I'm not above apologizing.
Right,
Hey,
right.
I'm sorry. This
And that's
morning
so
was,
great. That was another point that
yes,
Aaron had.
yeah,
That's another point.
yes,
And that is like, you guys don't know how important it was to me when I thought about, okay, I want to highlight educators. I really want to do this. And I immediately thought of Aaron. And I was like, okay, Aaron, you got any friends? Because I feel like, it's all about connections. And I
yes,
know who and how Aaron is. So if it's someone that he can refer to me, I know, it's, if they're connected to him,
yes,
there is the same quality of person.
absolutely.
And to highlight young black men, and how you guys are influencing and interjecting and connecting with these kids, like it is phenomenal. It is. I kind of wish a little bit that I could send my kids back to school, but then that means I would have to go back with them. So just
And then listen, Miss Keisha, because we are that 1% of the population,
yes,
because we
yes,
show up,
very much so.
because we are that 1%, we really have to show them what it looks like.
Yes,
Even when they
yes.
go home and see something totally opposite, we have to show them what it looks like. And I say this, and I say this emphatically, and I say this all the time to my kids. There's nothing I'm saying to you, my kids won't know. If my kids see this video, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he telling that all the time." It's just redundant to them.
And that's
But
awesome.
yeah, and like I find myself most of the time, I find myself driving down the road thinking about stuff I said to my kids and really being convicted. Like, you need to go and apologize. And so the next day I find myself apologizing and showing them how human I am. And show them, I have one student, she really, every time, this student really touches my heart because she's been through so much to be in 8th grade. Mom been locked up, daddy been locked up. She been separated from my brother. And so I told her one day, I'm tired of this. I want to give up. She went to cussing. She went on the rant. I told her, I said, listen, because you've seen everybody in your family fail over and over and over again, you're about to repeat that cycle. And she like, boom, like she broke down. She was like, I know, I never seen it like that.
Oh,
I said, because you've seen everybody in your family give up. This is not the moment for
right.
you to quit. If you quit, you become everything that you
Yeah.
don't want to be.
Yeah.
The moment you stop, and the moment I stop teaching, the moment I stop being human, the moment I tell them, my kids tell you all the time, my favorite 3 quotes: have you been to college? Have you wrote a book? And how many degrees do you have? That's my favorite thing to ask them, because when I say that to you, I want you to strive. Miss Tucker
Right.
told me
Right.
that. My high school teacher told us that. That's where I got it from. Melba Tucker, my favorite high school math teacher. She told me one day I was acting up in her classroom. She said, Mr. Hudson, how many books have you written? I said, none, Miss Tucker. She said, how many colleges have you attended? I said, none. She said, how many degrees do you have? I said, none, Miss Tucker. She said, one day you'll understand why I asked you those questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why she asked me those questions was because one day I wanted to be able to say, how many books have you written?
That's right. That's right.
How many colleges have you attended? Or how many trade schools have you been to? Or what do you do in your life? And so I challenge my kids because there's a big poster in my classroom, Miss Kecia, with all my degrees on it. And my kids be like, take that down, take that down.
This your motivation.
Yeah. And so my kids know after Mr. Hudson finishes real estate school this summer.
Right.
I'll be done my master's next summer. I'll be finished real estate school this summer, and I'm going to law school. My kids are able to walk in the classroom and look at my goals.
That's good.
My kids are able to walk in and see what it looks like to be planning for the next level.
Right.
So when my kids get in a state of mind where they get stumped, they can say, "This is what Mr. Hudson did." They have a picture of it. It's on the wall, so
right,
they can see.
Right.
Like, listen, I got to put this down. So my principal came in. She said, "I like that. I want you to get every kid one. I want you to get some cardboard paper, and I want you to let the kids make their goals. What's their next step? Where they going next? If they to a trade school, or are they going to college? What they gonna do next?" And I was like, wow, that is so moving. And so before my kids leave this year, they got to do that. You're gonna tell them where you're going next. And so when we start as educators getting in the classroom, W.E. Du Bois said education must not simply teach work, it must teach life.
That's good.
What that means is education must not simply teach kids how to go to work, but teach life. If I'm not teaching life principles, life concepts, life ideas, life philosophy. See, when we say we must obey the laws of the land, those laws of the land are not stop signs, police. Those laws of the land are
absolutely,
inertia, science, and because those are the only laws. Scientific laws are the only laws that, when violated, they constitute an immediate response. If that plane is too heavy, it ain't coming off the ground, and if it does, it's an immediate reaction. We have to teach kids that they got to be embedded. If I don't plan this way, if I don't do it this way, there's going to be an immediate reaction. If I can mess this up, but I got to be able to accept the consequences.
But I just got to keep going.
Yes.
I got to keep going.
Yes. And if I can live through this moment, I can get through so many more.
That's right.
My kids say, why are you so hard on us? Why are you so hard on us? I said, because I want you to go, the next teacher may not like you, but this is what I want you to have in your head. I got through Mr. Hudson classroom. It ain't a class I can't handle. That's why I'm so hard. That's why I'm so tough.
That's right.
Can get 3 people a day you get in my classroom. You can get Sergeant Hudson, because I worked at the prison. You can get Sergeant Hudson from the military, because I was a sergeant in the military. Or you can get the teacher, or you can get that sheriff. Whichever one you want, I can give you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Whichever one you
want. It's up to you.
But I would much rather give you the guy that comes to do no harm to you. Right. And when we teach, and I say this, and I know you got something to say before we get off here. I say this, and there was a parent in my first high school I taught at. She was really nasty with me, and that's what I said to her. I said, I don't have anything to combat about what you said, because I was wrong for yelling at your son because he doesn't belong to me. I said, but this is what I will tell you. When you teach your children to disrespect the first person in their life that does not come to harm them, but to instill in them good principles, good values, and good goals.
You set a whole new standard.
When they get out into the real world, they're not going to respect authority. And you might as well go to JCPenney's and get you a t-shirt and put his face on it, because that's exactly what you're about to do. And I told a parent that last year, and her son died this year. I told a parent that last year, and I said, if you do not get out of that state of mind where can't nobody tell your son nothing, you're teaching them to disrespect the first person that does not come to harm them. Teachers don't want to harm you. Firefighters don't want to harm you. That's what we do. It's public service. When we teach our children, she ain't gonna say that to you. Okay, well, somebody will.
Don't get me wrong. I will go to the school and act real fool. But when we got in that car
on the way home, right?
I'm finna punch you in the face. Got me up here acting fool, and you probably did what the lady said.
And you said it. Yep.
You probably done did what that woman said you did. You probably said, mom, quit. I don't want to hit it. That's a whole nother situation.
Yep.
Because you know your child. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know your child. So, and you don't want them to become that. You don't want them to think that it's all right. And now just because I don't went up here and did this, but you still gonna get showings too now because I know you. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no just her because she ain't gonna talk to my child like that. No. And then we gonna go and talk about how I told her off. No. When I finish setting her straight,
when we get in the car, yeah,
I'm gonna come deal with you because now you got me up here acting fool, and you probably did whatever that woman said you did, or said whatever that woman said you said, and you ain't gonna be out here embarrassing me. You know what I'm saying? No, sir, no, ma'am. And that's another thing. We have to like the whole. I know when I was coming up, it was the whole what goes on in the house stays in the house. Okay, no, because if you are teaching them how to be disrespectful in the house, they're gonna come outside the house and be disrespectful.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what I'm saying?
You sowed the seed. Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
you plant that seed. Like
yes,
you need to check them. You need to check them. They need to understand. Look, we not friends. I'm still your mama. You know what I'm saying? Like my daughter asked me the other day, so about, can I call you Kecia? I said, what? I ain't even understand that. Like, what you girl? Like, yeah, I wish you would. I'm gonna punch you in your face.
I'll punch in your trachea.
You know what I'm saying? I'll punch you in your face. Then I just think, you need to stop thinking. That's where you messed up. Don't think. But I'm gonna ask you this, and then we're gonna close out. But I do want to know this. So, how do you? Because that's a lot. You guys take on a lot. You got all these different kids, all these different personalities, all these different issues. You know, all this difference. How do you take it off and just be you? How do you digress? How do you? Because I remember when I was on a trail as a drill sergeant, I noticed that, you know, you with them kids 20 hours out the day, you hollering, you screaming, you know, little Johnny don't want to listen. And, you know, drill sergeants, we be a little crazy,
yeah,
right?
Y'all was it. Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And then, you get home and you still in that mode and you just have to. So I know what I had, because my kids was like, okay, are you crazy? Because something is not right with you. You have been possessed. And so I had to say, okay, I can't go home and be drill sergeant Griffin or senior drill sergeant Griffin. So what I need to figure out how to do it. So what I would do was I would take a ride around, listen to no music. And then when I pulled in the driveway, I will put my hat on the dashboard and leave it in the car. Because they say the hat do something to you.
Yes, it does. Y'all was.
And so I would have to put my hat and leave it in the car. So when I walked in, I was just mommy. Mm-hmm. And it helped a lot, but I had to leave that hat in the car. Like I had to. Even when we were going places as a family in civilian clothes, I found leaving the hat. So now I'm leaving the hat in the car. So I'm going places and the hat is sitting in the visor and I'm rolling down the window, yelling at soldiers that's doing the wrong thing. So it was like, okay, when we go out, now I got to take the hat and put it somewhere else because I'm still mommy and I need to let the soldiers be goofy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because they trying to spend time with mommy. They don't want to be with senior drill sergeant crazy. You know what I'm saying? Right. So how do you take it all off and enjoy yourself?
My mom has been working at the prison for 22 years. So my mom was one of those who couldn't turn it off, just like you're explaining. She was a single mom, so she had to be. How I take it off is every day. Well, one through prayer. Number one is prayer. Number two, I have to understand that what I'm going through, I was designed for. Mm-hmm. This was a calling. This is not something
purpose. You're walking your purpose.
This was a call. I'll teach for the rest of my life now. I'm going to get rich doing a lot of things, but I'll never be done teaching. And so what I have realized is that I'll never take this off. This calling will never come off of me. I have a way of internalizing through these 5 years I've been teaching. I've realized I have a way of internalizing hurt, and I can disintegrate it and get rid of it, and it doesn't affect me anymore.
Okay.
And so, when I have a rough day now, if I just want to just digress, I just meditate. I need to get my mind at ease.
Right.
And
You
reading
gotta
is my
find your center. You gotta
and,
find
re,
your
and
center, baby.
yep,
Because you ain't no good to nobody else if you got all that junk going on
yep,
up in there.
yep. And I read, and I study. And when I read and study, it gives me and the man upstairs an opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
really have some deep conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And just like in the book Night, Elie Wiesel says, you only get the real answers. You get real answers when you ask real questions. And I have to put my kids in positions and myself in positions where the environment is conducive
Right.
for me to get those real answers,
Right.
the real questions I want
Mm-hmm.
about how to deal with this stuff. And so every day is a new day. And so that's how I really find my center. I find my center just reading, studying, and preparing my lesson for the next day. And I'll
Well,
probably
that's
do that for the
good.
rest of
That's
my
good.
life.
I mean, you do stuff. You do stuff for fun, right? You like.
I do. I love to go out. I love to go out. I like to hang out and party. That is so me.
Ah, Mr.
Listen, you not
Hudson.
want to see me turn up because I'm on top of the bar. I'm on top of the
Oh,
counter.
not on top of the bar, Mr. Hudson. Lord. Girl, did
Look,
you see Mr. Hudson
I love
on the
having a
shade
good time.
room
I
dancing on
love
the bar?
my kids know, and I sing, so I love to sing, and that's another outlet. I love to sing. I'm gonna do karaoke then after leave the gym. I love to sing, but
Oh, me too. I can't, but I love karaoke, baby. I will do me some karaoke till my head is pounding.
we listen. We got to do it, Miss Kecia. We got to link up. We definitely
Oh
got to
yeah,
link
I'm
up.
coming to Fayetteville because you know that's why I goes to get my hair done too. I come to Fayetteville.
Wait, listen. You gotta come. I live in Ray for myself, so you gotta come through. You gotta come
Yes,
through.
I'm coming. I'm gonna let you know next time I'm be in town, okay? Because
Yes,
my kids be telling people that's where they from. You know, they Army brats, and we lived in Sanford for 10 years.
okay.
And so my kids always say when people ask them where they from, I'm from Fayetteville. You are not from Fayetteville, but okay. I mean, if you want to tell them now, okay. You know, I mean, who am I? I'm just a parent. You know, you from Fayetteville, you from Fayetteville. I'm from the 910 or 26. That's what it said. I'm from the 26. Okay, all right.
Baby, 910.
If you say so, I mean, if that's the story we telling, hey, who am I to say that you are not from Fayetteville? Okay.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, Mr. Hudson. I can't wait to meet you in person.
It has been a pleasure.
Yes,
For the
thank
rest
you
of the
so
world.
much. Thank you for
listen.
your openness and your truthfulness and just your passion about what you do with and for our children, because it is very important. Like you said, we are planting seeds. We are building for a future harvest, you know, because we're not going to always be around. So what we are preparing them for is the times when, you know, they're sitting in the positions where we are now. So thank you so much for what you do.
God bless
Thank you for how you do it. Thank you for taking care of you in order for you to do it.
Absolutely.
Smoochers love you much.
It has been a pleasure.
Good people. So this is the end of this episode. Oh my God. So many great nuggets were dropped. I really, really hope if you have some friends out there who have school age children, please, please, please share this episode. Again, we want to support our educators. We want to make sure that we are doing our part as a community and as a village, as Mr. Hudson pointed out. It takes a lot, even just to be the village. But it's important that we decide as a whole to take the first step. So let's do what we have to do. Let's do our part. Share, share, share. Make sure you're liking my YouTube page and my Facebook page, and share, 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 share. Don't hog the information. Don't be the smartest one on your block, okay? Again, thank you, Mr. Hudson, for sharing with us. And thank you, Aaron, for proposing Mr. Hudson to come on. These two young men are dynamic. And it is just such a blessing to have them in my circle. And I'm so, so proud of them. So next week, we're going to end off with ode to mental health. So we're going to kind of bring things down a little bit, because mental health definitely plays a very, very big part in educators and what they do, and us as parents and us as the village. Like I asked Mr. Hudson, how do you take care of you? Because we're no good to the next person, to anyone, if we're not good ourselves. So I definitely want to dedicate one episode to mental health awareness. Remember, if you cannot find someone to talk to, please, 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 there are resources out there. Use the resources. If you get depressed, there's always someone out there who will listen and who will help you get up from that bad situation. So please, 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 ma'am or sir, never feel like you're alone. So guys, I would like to say farewell, my friends. First, before I say farewell, let me slow down. Look, I'm all hyped now. Now I'm gonna be home. I'll be like, doing things and stuff when I get home, because my adrenaline's all going and whoop, whoop, whoop. So first, giving honor to God for this, me walking in my purpose and him choosing me to do it. So I just thank him for everything that he's brought me through to this point, and for the courage and grace that he gives me every day. And to my breast milk family, these guys are awesome. We are moving and shaking over here. And if you're in the Bell Camp area this Saturday, we will be having a business pop-up over here at the Brass Mill campus. Just come, because I don't remember what time it is. So, or just check my Facebook page. 10 to 4. That's what I said, 10 to 4. And we got like 26, almost 30 vendors. So I'm betting you can find something. And you can pre-order my journal. And I'll be there with my sea moss. I'm just, I'm a serial hustler. So don't worry about it. Okay. So, but if you're for real, if you're in the Brass Mill area, the Bell Camp area, definitely come check us out. Come check out the vendors. Come see what we got going on. And we just want to see your smiling face. And on that note, good people, good night. God bless and smooches.